When you're in a third world country, you will get sick. All the time, you will be sick. When I was there in Africa, I was running along the beach, doing my slow motion, sexy beach run, And, my toe, as you know, is an ugly, ugly toe. The toenail didn't quite grow back right because I broke it a long time ago, and that's another adventure in and of itself. But as I ran through the waves, just frolicking and having a fun time in Africa, at least this was on the weekend when you get a day off. You do get days off when you're doing mission work. You have to, or you'll go crazy. Well, when I hit the wave, it sort of got under my toenail and it peeled back the whole big toenail. Yeah. So it was sort of kind of dangling there, just being held on by a thread. And eventually I flicked the toenail and it went flying off. So now I had a nice, raw, open toenail bed. And that is the last thing that you want when you're walking around the streets of Freetown and Sierra Leone. You want everything to be nice and sealed up, or there will be bad infection. Very bad infection. But, I wore a Band-Aid over it, and that was okay. But it's not actually the wave that peeled back my toenail. No, it gets worse. We were walking along, it was Banana Island, which is funny because there were no bananas on Banana Island. And how they cut their trails there, at least on this island, they'd sort of kind of cut the trees and leave about this much of a stump. And so there are these trees about this thick and creating these little stumps like this. Imagine walking along a trail with tiny little spears sticking up. Of course I had my chacos on, and that was originally what peeled back by my toenail. I stubbed my big toe and it just ripped right on back. But it didn't come off completely until I was running through the waves like I was a sexy beach runner. Yeah, but it wasn't just my toe that I was experiencing physical ailments there in Africa. No. I got such bad bronchitis. Bronchitis is a respiratory infection, so, kind of that barking cough, and but lots of fluid, and it was just so disgusting. The stuff that came out of my face, I won't go into too much detail, but I was miserable, absolutely miserable. I did not get malaria, thank goodness. I did know some people who did get malaria. That is something that you do not want. So, thank goodness I just had bronchitis. But I had it for a very long time. And I actually calculated out, and half of the time that I was there, so Liz and I were there for 5 or 6 months, exactly half of the time I was sick. So, one week I would get better, the next week, sick. And that's just the nature of third world countries. They're not very clean places. You go outside and there are these little kids who want to hang on you, and just like these grimy, gross little hands. They probably haven't washed their hands in months, and they're just pulling on you and laughing, and you're playing with them, having a great time, and you try to wash your hands, or you try to put the Purell on your hands, but that doesn't really work. And the same with Nepal, when I was doing some mission work up in the Himalayan mountains up there, selling Bibles and doing cool adventures up there. Same thing. You just got sick. Whether it was a stomach virus, or whether it was a cold, or whether it was your toe, you just got sick. Part of it, I imagine, is due to the fact that my body is just not used to being in an environment where there's that much disease and sickness. But another part of it is spiritual. Oh, I have some crazy spiritual stories, things that happened, things you do not see in the United States. And yeah, I'm going to be a little weird here for a moment if you're not familiar with, the spiritual facet of the Bible. But in the United States, Satan wants to be nice and quiet when he's here. When he's in Africa, they embrace spirituality. They have witch doctors there. It's just a part of their culture. And it's woven in like a thread through this fabric. And so they're just used to it. So they're very, very open to experiencing very strange phenomenon. And you start experiencing that strange stuff also. Things that you do not normally experience. And you ask people about that, and you're just like, so what's the deal with I don't know, I was walking through the jungle last night, and I saw a flame up there, and it was just floating in the air. Weird things like this. And they're like, oh yeah, you were around the such and such ancestor tree, and demons hang out at that tree. So you know what I mean by they're just, yeah, no big deal. Oh yeah, you saw that? Yeah, it's pretty weird, huh? Yeah. So anyway, what would you like for dinner? You're just like, that was really weird, guys. But the cool thing about that is that when you have Jesus on your side, not meaning to preach at you for a moment, but seriously, he trumps everything. So every time something weird or really bad happened, you would just say, Jesus, help me. And he does. And that gets weird too, when your faith actually is working so well that you can actually see things working with your own eyes. And you're kind of blinking to yourself, okay, all right, this isn't just something where, people go to church during Easter and Christmas. This is the real McCoy. This stuff actually works. What the heck is going on here? So back to, these sickness things and whatnot. I'm pretty sure that a lot of those had to do with, spiritual warfare. And I won't go too much more into it because that can weird out people, and they're like, hey boy, you're getting all superstitious and whatnot. But I do believe it's legit. There's real stuff that we can't see, and it really happens. And when you're in Africa or out of your comfort zone, you can see that stuff.